For me, it was quite simple. I got into Renmin University in 1992, coming from a small city in northern Jiangsu, which had a population of about 4,000. As you all know, in those days, there was definitely no such good environment as Oxford that you students have today. It is not only beautiful, cultural, and historical, but all kinds of conditions are very good. At that time, China was extremely poor. The situation was like that when I was studying at Renmin University. All our relatives and friends, as well as the villagers in the whole village, contributed 2 cents and 5 cents. This time I raised 500 yuan with 1 yuan. At the same time, all the villagers gave me all their eggs. 76 eggs. I went to Beijing without telling him. It was the first time I left Suqian, and also the first time I went to Beijing. So after going to school, I think my biggest challenge was how to survive. Because I also know that my family and the people in the village will never give me a penny again. That was all I had, 500 yuan and 6 eggs. From then on, I had to rely on myself. Back in those days, as everyone knows, finding work in Beijing was really tough. It was almost impossible to get a job. The Ministry of Education was also very strict, repeatedly stating that students were not allowed to engage in business while at school. That was indeed against the rules, but I had no choice. So, I thought about tutoring, just like many of my classmates. There is this advertisement at the entrance of the school cafeteria. I guess many of our non-legal students today may not understand it. And I also sold books. It was all right, really. The first year was tough, but I managed to get by. I worked hard on my English because I knew that once I got into Renmin, I couldn't just rely on studying sociology. I thought to myself, I need to learn more than just that. That was the best choice in those days. 1. You learn English well and go abroad like you do. Right. You can bleed in Oxford or Cambridge. The second is to take the civil service exam and go to the government. Get a stable job. Yes, I hope I can study abroad, so I studied English desperately. When my freshman year was almost over, something happened in our dormitory. This thing, was the first time that changed my life. Something that changed my life. So, in our university dormitory, there were 6 of us in one room, and each dorm had its own leader. Based on age, the oldest guy in our dorm, who was about to graduate, came back one day, smoking, and sitting on his bed. We asked him what was up, and it was clear. He was really distressed. It was painful. After a while, he finally spoke up and said he had his eye on a girl from our English department. She was really beautiful. He spent 3 whole days trying to please this girl who saved a seat for him every day. In the evenings, there were very few seats available, so everyone had to throw a book under the desk in the morning to claim their spot. When it came time for evening study sessions, he would go and get her dinner and do all sorts of things for her. After 3 months, the girl finally softened and agreed to take a stroll around campus with him. As a result, after walking for only about 15 minutes, he flew to the dormitory and started to feel depressed. Why, he said, I am from the English department. It is very difficult for me to find a job if I graduate from the English department. You are from the sociology department, which is basically the worst major among the 26 majors in Renmin University. He said, if I were to marry you, finding a job would be nearly impossible for you. After he shared that, the mood in our dorm was really heavy that night. That hit me hard. You know, just like you lot, I thought I could eat less, live without a boyfriend. But being single for life, like a bachelor, that's tough, isn't it? So I can't rely on my sociology degree to find a girlfriend not going to work. I was thinking, how on earth can I find a girlfriend? After pondering for ages, I decided, back in the summer of 1993, that I would study computer science. Back in 1993, Renmin University didn't have computers. Computers were rare in China. Fortunately, in China, it was all very high-tech. Back then, you had to set up a proper computer room just to buy a computer. It had to be temperature and humidity controlled, and you even had to carpet the floor. So, I ended up buying loads of books and got started.